I knew that God loved me. I knew that God was all-powerful, which meant that he could have spared my dad, and he didn't. Growing up, I went to church. I heard Jesus loved me. It was wonderful. Hey, God is good. And the picture is often, life is just always sweet and nothing ever goes wrong. As you grow up and you start to realize, oh, gee, life does not always go as planned. God does not always answer the way you want to. My dad was diagnosed with cancer. And one of the things that I sensed was daily talking to the Lord about what was taking place, praying for my dad. And it was Easter Sunday that I was sitting in church, and I knew that the end was near because my dad did not have much time left. And as we sat in church that morning, the message that the pastor preached was from 1 Thessalonians. And we don't mourn as the world mourns because of the hope of life everlasting. And as I sat there again, it was a time when tears came to my eyes as I thought about this could be the day that my dad goes to see Jesus. As it turns out, it was that day. And we got a call later that afternoon from my sister that Dad had passed and was now with Jesus. Recognizing in the midst of what was taking place that the Lord, he was there, and that he was walking with me through the midst of what was taking place. There had been a hard part of trusting God in the midst of that, though, because I knew that God loved me. I knew that God was all-powerful, which meant that he could have spared my dad, and he didn't. And I had to wrestle with what was taking place. I found myself spending some time with the Lord, and I thought, I'm angry. And I'd been snappy at home. I'd been angry at this and angry at that. And as I was sitting there talking with the Lord, he said, you know, Tom, what's really going on is you're angry with me because I chose to take your dad. And I sat there and I thought, Lord, I call you Lord, but I complain in what you do. And God convicted me that my attitude about it wasn't what I wanted for my dad, but trusting God for his timing in each and every circumstance. And God really used that as a point in my life to say, who's Lord? And I am with you in the difficult circumstances of life. I think being honest with God about how you feel is really important. It doesn't always mean the answer is yes, but it means we can always come to God with however we're feeling or with whatever the circumstances that we or others might be experiencing. And so prayer gives us the privilege of talking to the creator of the universe, the God who set everything in motion and who is sovereign over everything. And so many people, when they go through really difficult times in their life, it can be really hard to embrace loss or God choosing to work in a different way than you had wanted or planned. But I think of times when it's like, I wanted to do something and God didn't allow it to happen. And there are times when I'm tempted to grumble about what's going on in my life because I'm not happy with it. And then it was a little bit later, it was like, oh, this was really good that God did not give me what I wanted because that would not have been good in this situation. And so I still find that Tom has a lot of ideas on how things should go and when things should happen, and God's timing is always not the same. And I've had to learn to say, okay, Lord, okay, that means you're in charge, not me. I need to yield to your time, and I need to not insist upon my way, to know that he's got an eternal plan. It's not a plan where it will be problem-free for us. It's not a plan that will run according to our timetable or our schedules, but it's one where he will walk with us. And it's about him bringing about his kingdom here on earth. And we can know that the God of the universe, who created everything, who knows our needs, is the one that we can come to.